All right, we are going to rewrite this one. This should be classifying, which is like sorting. Quadrilaterals. E-R-A-L-S. Whew, sorry guys, that's E-R-A-L-S. So when we're talking about classifying quadrilaterals, we're talking about four-sided shapes. That quad, like in quarter, means 4. So we're going to start off with a quadrilateral you guys are used to. It's a quadrilateral where there's only one pair of parallel lines, which are lines that don't ever meet. This is going to be called a trapezoid. All right. You guys are probably used to trapezoids looking more like this, or like that red shape you see in the math kits. But trapezoids can also look like that as long as they only have one pair of parallel lines. The most common one we're probably going to see in math is going to be a quadrilateral with 2 pairs of opposite sides. This is an opposite side. These are opposite sides. And both of those opposite sides are parallel to each other, meaning they will never meet. You'll notice that the opposite sides and angles are congruent, and that word congruent means they're equal to each other. And you can tell they're congruent by the way they've notated or made these little marks on here. Since these both have 1 dash in them, that means they're equal to each other. These both have 2 dashes. That means they're equal to each other. This angle has 1 arc, as does this angle, so they measure the same. Here, this angle has 2 arcs, and this is 2 arcs, so it measures the same. Just to clarify, though, you'll see like 1 mark on these. That does not mean that these are equal to this shape. Each time you see this, it's just talking about that shape by itself. This quadrilateral here is actually going to be called a parallelogram. Right over here, we have what looks like a parallelogram, but kind of more like a squarish parallelogram. This is actually still a parallelogram. The difference is that all of the sides are congruent with 2 pairs of opposite angles that are congruent. This is called a rhombus. A rhombus is actually also called a parallelogram because it's just a specific type of parallelogram. That's like saying, these are all fingers. This is my thumb. My thumb is still a finger, but not all of my fingers are thumbs. Like this is a pointer finger. Is it a finger? Yes. Is it a thumb? No. Finger? Yes. Thumb? Yes. So rhombus is a specific type of parallelogram. Here we have another type of parallelogram. This is a parallelogram with 4 right angles, which are 90-degree angles, and you're going to have really it's just the 4 right angles. That's going to be called a rectangle. A rectangle is a parallelogram. A rectangle is not a rhombus because it doesn't have all congruent sides. Then we have a square. A square is a type of rectangle with all congruent sides. A square is a rectangle, a square is a rhombus, and a square is a parallelogram. Tricky, huh? Now, the important thing to know about quadrilaterals is even though they all might look a little bit different, they have one thing in common. All quadrilaterals, when you add up the amount or the sum of their inside angles, you're going to get the same number. And that number is going to be 360 degrees. So if I add this, and this, it's going to be 360. If I add this, and this, 360. So they want us to find the measures of 3 angles of a quadrilateral, of a quadrilateral who has 3 angles measuring 115 degrees, 68 degrees, and 45 degrees. They said, what is the measure of the 4th angle? So I know that 115 plus 68 plus 45 plus x equals 360. So what I'm going to do is add these 3 together. 115 and 68, that gives me 13, 8, 283 plus 45 gives me 8, 2, 3. So I know these three angles equal 328. The leftover angle, I'm sorry, I think I said some math wrong there. $60 and 45, so 115, 13, 8. Yeah, this is 183. So this is 228. Sorry, my bad. So this is going to be 228. So 360 minus 228. 5. 10 minus 8 is 2. 5 minus 2 is 3. 3 minus 2 is 1. It's going to leave me with a 132-degree angle. I'll know that's right if I go back and I add it to all these three other numbers and end up with 360 degrees. And make sure you're writing that degree symbol. And this is not a temperature, so we don't add Fahrenheit and we don't add Celsius after. Down here, you're going to classify these two polygons using as many of these terms as you can. Remember, some things are more than one thing. And down here, they gave you 3 angle measurements. You have to find the 4th angle for all of the quadrilaterals. Not too terrible. You do not have to worry about the backside. Have a good night.